This man is everywhere these days, popping up this morning on the Politico 50, Guide to the Thinkers, Doers, and Visionaries Transforming American Politics. You'll also see and hear him next Wednesday, part of the CNN debate on the 16th. All of that will also be here on WROK, and each evening, 8 to 11 p.m., it's the Hugh Hewitt Show, hosted by Hugh Hewitt, with us now. Good morning, Hugh.
Well, and Scott, good morning. And the Politico 50 is endlessly amusing to my wife and to my producers. As you know, producers mock hosts on a daily basis. I'm sure I'm going to be called number 17 forever. Can I take a moment to tell everyone I did not clerk for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which is in there.
Yes.
That's the only typo. I just want to make sure people know I didn't do that. But it's very amusing. It's just, the Pope is on that list, and I'm just a talk show host.
I like how they got the sketch artist, though, to get your likeness.
But, I don't know where that sketch artist came from.
That's not bad at all. I mean, really. Put that on your business cards.
It's better than Brady's.
Well, the round face is very funny. But I am amused by that. My 15 seconds is almost over when the debate ends Wednesday night. I can go back to being a talk show host again and not having everybody asking my opinions on things, because it's the reflected glory of Donald, right? That's what it is.
I don't know if we're breaking news to you, but Politico just had this the debate moving times to it would be 7 o'clock our time. It's moving up that night. Yes.
You are breaking news to me. Nobody tells me.
See, I told you, because off the air I said to Scott, now what if Hugh's getting his hair cut? What if he's planning on getting a haircut or something at that time? That screws everything up.
We are breaking news to the man who breaks news each night on his show. Yes, a CNN moving primetime debate from 9 p.m. Eastern Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, eliminating the long gap between the main event and the earlier forum. So a little less time to prep.
Well, that I just hope they leave bathroom break times. That's all I told them. Guys, we can't be out there for 4 hours. You have to do it like a congressional hearing and have 5-minute breaks so that I can get a cigar and I can walk around and stretch my legs. You can't sit at a desk for 4 hours. That's good news. Well, that's wonderful.
Before we get to the candidates and the players and the NFL, too, let's talk a bit about this debate. We're going to have it here on WROK next Wednesday, the 16th. It's you. It's Jake Tapper, who we love. It's and Dana Bash is the other questioner. Is that correct?
That's correct. The panelists are me and Dana. Jake is in charge of keeping the train going and moving around. He'll ask questions, of course, as well, but he's the moderator.
What did you learn from the Fox debate, the first debate with 10 people on stage that might influence the way you act on this second debate?
They're unwieldy. I think Jake had the most to learn. It's so unwieldy with now probably 11 people on stage. If I do my math right, we should have Carly Fiorina joining us based on the rolling poll average. And that the questioners spent 34 minutes of airtime out of 2 hours plus a few minutes talking. Which to me, they're great people, right? Megan, Brett, and Chris Wallace are terrific questioners, but their framing took a long time. I want to be succinct and try and get it down so that, number one, the candidates spend more time talking to each other and there's less panelist time. And number two, the day after, it's not a good thing if anyone is writing about a panelist or the moderator. They should be writing about what the candidates say to each other.
See, I was just going to ask you that. I would imagine that given your skill level, which is immense, you don't want to be part of the story afterwards.
No, I didn't like the interview with Donald Trump. And by the way, I really do think he misheard coulds and curves. And I didn't play gotcha with him. And I've talked to him, and everything is good. But the fact is that panelists should be representatives of the audience, especially GOP primary voters, asking questions that they want answered, and then get out of the way and don't step on the story. Especially, you guys know this. If something's happening in front of you, don't interrupt them and move to someone at the far end because you're afraid the clock will go awry. I mean, that's just not good debating skills. Illinois is the home of debate. I just spent 7 hours talking with Dr. Larry Arnott Hillsdale about the Lincoln-Douglas debates, one of which I think was in Rockford. They spent 3 hours talking to each other, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 90 minutes, 60 minutes, A, B, A, or B, A, B. And it was fascinating, but they were talking to each other. They didn't need moderators or panelists, and I think we could do more with that.
I'm glad you said that. Hugh Hewitt is with us. It's Riley and Scott on WROK. I was going to be my next question. It might be more of a Jake Tapper duty, I guess. But when you see, like in that first debate, Rand Paul and Chris Christie going at it, or Rand Paul and Donald Trump having a real debate, a real back and forth, I'd prefer to let that go on. I know candidates get touchy about he had 97 seconds and I only had 34 seconds, but the debate's supposed to bring out the candidates' qualities, good and bad, and nothing gets at that more than some of that back and forth between the actual candidates.
100% agreement. I know that Jake agrees with you. I know that Dana agrees with you. The CNN Salem production team agrees with you. Now, if it doesn't happen, it can't go on for 15 minutes, right? It can't go on for... But you can, and I doubt the candidates will, they self-regulate. They know that the audience watching realizes there's a clock ticking and you're eating all the candy bars in the raft. I don't know if you guys saw Unbroken. You can't eat all the candy bars in the raft. Right? You can let it go a few minutes.
Well, and, I would think ultimately the best line to be coming out of you would be, all right, break it up.
That is a mark of parade. That was a great exchange. And or to your corners, gentlemen and lady, or to your corners, gentlemen, we must move on and allow your other panelists the chance to participate.
Yeah, let's get him an ice pack.
Hugh Hewitt is with us.
I may steal that. That's good.
You hear him each night, 8 to 11 here on WROK. And frequently with us, we appreciate the time. Plus, next Wednesday, CNN debate. Hugh, okay, Donald Trump. You had that Q&A with him last week. He's been on with you a ton. He's such a great interview. I agree with you on that. He came off sniping of it. You guys have talked, patched up the foreign policy questions. Last night, the report comes out about Rolling Stone. He says, look at Carly Fiorina's face. Can you imagine her face being our president? This morning, he tells Chris Cuomo that Ben Carson was just an okay doctor. The guy who separated conjoined twins.
Sure.
Just an okay doctor. What, if anything, do you see slowing down the Trump momentum? Because it seems like there is no misstep that can throw him off his game.
Donald Trump is unique in American political modern history, and we will wait and see how voters react to it. He is the most skilled television person to ever run. We think of him as a real estate magnate and a builder, and he is. And we think of him as a marketer with few parallels, and he is. And P.T. Barnum-like professionalism when it comes to promotion, he does that. But he spent 11 seasons on live television learning how to audience drive, especially conflict, to a peak moment of drama. So he knows television in a way that no one else, even Ronald Reagan, who did the Borat team or whatever that thing was called and was an actor and had superb communication skills. Ronald Reagan was the great communicator. We'll see what kind of a communicator Donald Trump is and how it wears, but right now we know he is an expert at exploiting the small screen and the new media environment in which there is a return on investment for everything said, no matter what it is.
That's probably a lesson that Scott Walker could probably learn at this point because, I kind of wish you'd been standing with me the other day, but my neighbor asked me, he goes, hey, what happened to Scott Walker? And just kind of let that question hang in the air. And, well, nothing physically, but, boy, we're not hearing as much about him as, we've heard over the past 2 years when he kept having to run for re-election.
Oh, I'm talking to Scott today and Jeb and Marco, as a matter of fact. Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Scott Walker on today's show on 1440 later tonight. They can listen to those 3 interviews. And Walker is playing a different, he's signed off on, I'm not going to get into it with Trump. I'm going to steady as it goes, Iowa, New Hampshire. And the Iowa voter, I read an interesting analysis of this, which I agree with yesterday, is a very long sell. It's the guy who comes back to the lot to look at the same car 5 times. Right? And it drives the salesman crazy. And so he was ahead, now he's behind. Carson is a little ahead of him. Donald's a little ahead of him. But I think he's going to play, he is kind of relentless as he learned to be in the Wisconsin wars. So he come in from the frontier in the Wisconsin wars, and he's sort of like the Bears guys. Don't give up on him.
Hugh Hewitt is with us weeknights 8 to 11 here on WROK. 3 presidential candidates on tonight, and he's moderating the CNN debate next Wednesday, or asking questions at the CNN debate next Wednesday, the 16th. You'll hear that here on WROK as well. One more political question, then we're going to talk a little NFL. You wrote a book, too, as we promote all things Hugh Hewitt, The Queen, The Epic Ambition of Hillary and the Coming of a Second Clinton Era, available at Amazon.com and elsewhere, in which you give some advice to Hillary. what advice would you give her now? She has not apologized. Now she has apologized. This morning we find out Quinnipiac says she's losing in Iowa to Bernie Sanders. If she loses Iowa and New Hampshire, Katie barred the door.
Yeah, the voters are figuring out that she broke the law on 18 U.S.C. 1924, which is the statute. It's a criminal statute on how one has to store and handle classified material. I wrote in the Queen a couple of chapters on the email server, because before I went to publication, it was known that she had it, and I channeled my inner Machiavellian. I said, look, these cannot show up. There can't be anything in these emails. If they are, you're doomed, so just assure me or go out in the public and tell the truth. So the only way she salvages this, she's got an October hearing date in front of the Benghazi Committee, which is full of seasoned prosecutors who aren't going to showboat. Mm-hmm. They're going to methodically ask her question after question. I had Mike Pompeo on yesterday talking about this. The only thing she can do is go full Chris Christie, go out and find probably a Hugh Hewitt, to tell you the truth, or a Chris Wallace, or somebody who represents serious, experienced national security reporting, and spend 2 hours with them and answer every question, and then refer back. She did that once before. It was known as the pink pantsuit press conference in the 90s, where she just took every question for 2 hours until the reporters fell over from info overload, and then it was over. The trouble is she can't do that, I think, because she broke the law. I really think she broke the law, and I used to have clearances at that level, and if you left stuff on your desk in the 80s, you'd be fired. Mm-hmm. If you took it home, you'd go to jail. Nowadays, that's virtually the same thing as having a server in your house without encryption and NSA protection. I have to believe that everything that she got and sent was monitored in real time by at least the Chinese and the Russians, perhaps the Iranians and the North Koreans, and some of our allies. That's what she did to the national security. That's why her numbers were tanking.
So they paid attention to all of that, but I'm sure in addition to following her emails, the Chinese, the Russians, they're very interested in the upcoming NFL season.
Can you see Putin doing a fantasy draft? Someone picks a player he wants, he has them executed.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, he's been added to my roster.
You will praise me, Brady.
Cleveland Browns, what's happening?
We have a great season coming, guys. I'm telling you right now. I told my son-in-law, pick Brian Hartline. He's going to catch 80 balls. Josh McCown is not flashy. We're going to the playoffs. We probably don't have a long run in the playoffs this year because we do not have a receiver core. That Josh Gordon is who we needed, the big, strong, get-free. But Terrell Pryor might do it. I'm very optimistic. I telling you, producer, I bought season tickets when they came back in '99, and I told my brother here, you use them until they get in the playoffs. I'm coming home for the playoffs. I've never been. Since '99, they had one playoff game. It was in Pittsburgh. They lost. So this is the year. I'm going to a Cleveland Brown because I said I'm going to make my triumphal return to Cleveland Brown Stadium when they're in the playoffs there, and it has not happened in 16 years.
And did you like the new uniforms? With a little more orangey, a little more brown?
I love the uniforms, but they tell me the coaches don't because you can't see the numbers. I love the uniforms, but if you can't see the numbers, that's not so good.
Well, that's all right. You get the video from the Patriots. I'm sure they can see the numbers with their cameras.
Back on the Patriots. When you guys get tired of... who's the guy who was in Denver? Jay Cutler. When you get tired of Cutler, trade him to us. I'd love to have someone who could fling the ball 40 yards once in my lifetime.
That would be nice. He's the great Hugh Hewitt. Hugh, as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your day, and congratulations on the sketch artist rendition and the nomination into the 50s.
Riley and Scott, thanks. Always a pleasure to talk with 1440s guys.